Welcome to webdevelopment-school.com. This is a part 2 video of an introduction to PHP. Let me first start off by telling you some general stuff about PHP. Like, PHP is a server-side scripting language. Well, this means that the PHP code is parsed at a web server and then sent back to the browser. So whenever you write PHP code, the code itself won't be visible in the browser. When you click on the context menu and then view source, you won't be able to see the PHP code, and we'll come back to that later. In PHP we got a couple of things like variables. Variables are holders for values, if you will. So you can store a little value, perhaps a piece of text or a number, into a variable, and that variable will represent that value. And I'll get back to you in just a moment about that. And another thing what is important about PHP is that you have to define when you're opening and closing PHP. So you can write PHP in the middle of your HTML code, but you have to declare that you're about to start writing PHP. You have to close when you're done writing PHP. Well, enough of that. Let's just start with some examples. Please note that I have opened the index.php file in local disk, web server, Apache 2, htdocs index.php. If you do not have this file, create it and then open it and browse to localhost. You'll see a index.php file, open it, and there you are. So we're leveling here. Let me see. PHP. First of all, I'm gonna show you a little bit of PHP. This is PHP code, and let's have a closer look. This smaller than question mark, these two characters are representing the declaration of opening PHP, and this question mark greater than combination of characters defines a closed section of PHP. So this means that whenever you want to start writing PHP, you need to declare, hey, I'm gonna start writing PHP now. And this is done by the smaller than character and the question mark. And whenever you're done, after maybe 100 or 1,000 lines of PHP, and you're done writing PHP, you need to tell that you're about to stop writing PHP, and that's done with the question mark and the greater than sign. So all the lines between these two, line 9 and line 1, are parsed as PHP. Well, let's have a closer look to this line. Echo is a function in PHP which can print something to the browser. So when we say echo hello world, it'll print the text hello world to the browser. And notice the semicolon on the end of the line. In PHP, every line needs to end with a semicolon. And PHP open and PHP close, those two do not need a semicolon, but whenever you're writing multiple lines of PHP, you always need to close with a semicolon. So when we refresh this page, we will see hello world. This is exactly as we expected. We told echo print this text hello world to the browser. Well, that worked correctly. Another interesting thing is the quotes here. And maybe you'll think about, hey, I don't see the quotes here in the browser. Well, that's correct, because we got a couple of different values in PHP, and we call them data types, and I'm gonna tell you a little bit about them. We got several data types, and I'm gonna discuss a couple of them. Data types are the type of value that is represented by a variable. So perhaps we've got an integer or a digit, a string, and a float. I'm going to leave it to these three. Well, an integer can represent a number like 1 or 50 or 49. A string can represent a piece of text. So just like the example hello world, this is a string because it's characters. It can be numbers, characters, special characters, whatever. And a float is a data type which can contain a broken number like 5.6 or 2.5. And whenever we go back to the PHP code we just created, like this, hello world, this value, hello world, is a string. It contains characters like letters and special characters like a comma and exclamation mark. And a string is always contained within two quotes, like this. You can also write it with double quotes. That won't make any difference. So now we see 2 times hello world. A number, like an integer, don't have to be quoted. So a number can be just like this, echo 10. No problem, it'll echo 10. But please note that 10 can also be a string. So we can also quote it. But it's more nice and neat to do it without quotes. The float is also not quoted, but is separated the decimals with a dot, like 75.85. That's just like this. That's no problem at all. So we've got strings. In this case, hello with the exclamation marks, that's a string. We've got integers, whole numbers, like 100. And we got floats, like 10.9. Broken numbers with decimals. Those are 3 data types I wanted to discuss with you. The next important thing to know about in PHP are variables. And variables can contain a value. And let me just start off by an example. I'm gonna write some PHP like this. Name is Sally. When we run this code in the browser, it'll show us nothing because we didn't print anything to the browser. Let me chunk this up for you. Remember that the quoted pieces of text between these quotes are a string. So this is the data type string. PHP needs, every line in PHP needs to end with a semicolon. So that's therefore. And this is a variable. And variables need to start with a $sign. So a variable is always indicated by starting with a $sign, then the name of the variable. So, and this equals character tells us a sign. And this rule, this line of code says, okay, we've got the variable name, assign the value Sally to it. So the string Sally is now inside the variable name. And we can print that variable. if we say echo name, we're gonna see Sally. Why? Because the variable name is assigned with the value Sally, which is a string, and in this line we say echo the variable name, and name has the value Sally in it. Well, this can be a little bit confusing, but I'm gonna wrap it up with a little extra. Title is Hello World. Echo title. This is the first example. We see Hello World. Why we see Hello World? Because we got a string that's between those quotes. We assigned it with the equals character to the variable title. This is the variable name, and a variable is indicated by a $sign. And then we say, okay, PHP, echo this variable title. Echo, which means print to the browser, the variable, and PHP can identify that by the $sign, the variable title to the browser. And of course, both lines end with a semicolon, saying, okay, this line is done now. Every line needs to end with a semicolon. I want to leave it to this. Please check out the next video, and we're gonna dive into variables and other stuff. So check out the next video, and I hope to see you again at the website webdevelopment-school.com. Thanks for watching.